Grayscale just bought 40 billion of TIA. That's what someone made the news. But after checking, this was in fact fake news. And these are Grayscale's official holdings. Now, people said like they bought 40 million of TIA. If that would happen, the price would be pumping. And obviously, TIA has been seeing a lot of price predictions. But I took this as a positive note to check what Grayscale is actually holding, because this does seem photoshopped, and someone actually checked, and they are holding 22 billion of Bitcoin. Now, their main position is Bitcoin, but also they're holding about 3 million of Ethereum, which is 6.7 million. And they're also holding 2 million of Link and 3.38 million of LPT. So it's not like they're just on Bitcoin, but they're also looking at other factors here, which to me sounds pretty exciting if you ask me. Definitely big news ahead for anyone that likes Grayscale. Overall, they've been selling a large portion of their crypto. So that was a problem for a lot of people. For me personally, I think that's a pretty normal scenario. If you ask me, like it's not that insane as people were talking about it. That being said, though, here's what I think. They're holding a very small portion of AVAX. They're actually holding 200K of AVAX. And I'm not sure if they bought it at a very cheap price. Like sometimes, as trusts can buy at a very affordable prices, maybe like $30,000. To me, it's very interesting. They're handling 22 billion of something, but like only 200K of AVAX in that sense, or 500 million of AVI. But it does seem like they are planting their eggs everywhere in that sense. Like they say, okay, if this goes up, it goes up. And if it goes down, well, so be it, right? And I think this is the big difference that a lot of people do not realize. That being said, though, so far, so good news, in my honest opinion. There's been a lot of stuff to talk about in the past few days for the cryptocurrency market. If you ask me personally, I think that the cryptocurrency market right now, it's not that terrible, but it's also not that good. And something that I found interesting is Grayscale is holding 28 billion, but they're still holding 2.13 million Link, and I'm not too sure why. They're also holding some Uniswap, so maybe they have like a very small portfolio of these like small tokens if they end up rising. But again, Grayscale has Coinbase Prime custody. I will keep you guys updated with more news on that. If you guys want, be sure to smash that like button. Until next time, peace everyone. Grayscale transferred 18,000 Bitcoin, 660 million to Coinbase, which definitely signals that the bear market is here. But that being said, I don't think this is the worst. Like, the Bitcoin halving is still coming up. The biggest issue with this is most likely they're selling because now they can. I know they had a lot of Grayscale Bitcoin that they couldn't sell on the open market, or they had like a very small market, and they probably sold billions at this point. Now, that's not necessarily that bad as people think. Personally, think this is all right. Market already dumped and rallied since then. People are saying breaking news, but someone actually bought all of this. And why is exactly Grayscale selling after a Bitcoin ETF listing? So to get it before, people could still buy Grayscale's ETF. It wasn't a real official ETF. It was more of like a very highly regulated ETF in that sense. And that being said, it wasn't necessarily bad, but most people, they bought it and they couldn't sell such a large portion of it. They couldn't sell like $1 billion of it because it wasn't liquid enough. And now that the ETF market is liquid, they can finally start selling all this stuff, which is absolutely incredible if you ask me. So that's the good news for a lot of people. Again, in my honest opinion, do I feel like this, could recover? I absolutely feel so. And that's the big news. Like, there's still people buying this 556 million. And that's the pretty exciting stuff that a lot of people don't talk about. And here is what I think. Personally, I think, Grayscale selling this was much predicted, because we were basically talking about this for a long time, that Grayscale has a huge Bitcoin supply and they can't really sell much. So that was one point that a lot of people weren't talking about at all. But that being said, I think over long term, we could definitely be seeing Grayscale improving in that sense. So that's something I'm really excited for, like more people coming to these ETFs and buying them. Right now, these dumps are also sold by other ETF institutions, so we're definitely seeing some sort of a bear market. But I will keep you guys updated with more news. Until next time, be sure to smash that like button. Peace, everyone. So we do have more updates, guys. Altcoins are nowhere near a danger zone of euphoria now. This chart is a total market cap for all the crypto industry. And while we are not back at all-time high, it's problematic that there is more news incoming. So problem is that a lot of charts of total 2, 3, and others, there's a lot. Bitcoin is naturally strongest as it hit 61%. And obviously after the ETF listing, we've been seeing so much bad news hitting the crypto markets. Now, people are saying, you know, problem is we could be seeing like bigger drops in that sense. Now the problem is that a lot of these institutions, because they got like, you know, they were buying here at 800 billion market cap, 600 billion almost. They now are buying back at, you know, we want to get to 2.23 trillion, right? The issue here is a lot of these institutions who got it at 600 billion have now basically doubled their money, or like made a 120% gain. So they're easily taking profits and selling even more. And that's where I think the problem is right now. I think a lot of these big institutions, they're selling a very massive portion of their crypto. But I am still honestly very hopeful to see cryptocurrencies, you know, basically explode in the following few days, for that reason, because what we're seeing right now is like an opportunity for many investors to come in. There's like people saying that it's going to take 2 years for these drops to improve. And I think that's got a lot of people very, very worried in that sense. Like, I mean, I personally would be, I think it's a big problem in that sense. I think a lot of people are frustrated, especially what happened in the last few days with the markets. Like everybody was expecting a Bitcoin halving coming up, but so many institutions came in and took their profits, sold everything. And that's what I feel like that the problem should be. Like Greyscale now is dumping 600 million. So if you want to see a profitable day for Bitcoin, you got to put in at least, you know, a massive number, which would be potentially, I would say at least 700, 800 million on top of everyone else selling. Like people have to realize how problematic this is in actuality. This is a big problem for many in that sense. Like a lot of people were facing these issues in that sense. They were seeing these big price drops. Personally, I'm not too worried in the long-term sense, but in the short term, this is definitely very frustrating, and I can definitely get it for a lot of people. So that's where really this market drop, you know, has proven itself. That being said, though, not the worst, not the best overall for the markets. I was kind of expecting some sort of a drop, but not this type. Like I wasn't expecting that severe. And I think that's the big problem. Like a lot of people weren't expecting these markets to drop so much, to drop like 30, 20%. Obviously, we were expecting some correction. But what do you guys personally think about this? I think it's still a very, very early time to say. But if you're expecting like the Bitcoin halving, I'm getting more and more kind of worried in a sense for the Bitcoin halving, in my opinion. Like I think there's going to be more concerns in that aspect. So that's one thing to be worried about. But I will keep you guys updated with more news, with more content. If you guys want, be sure to smash that like button. And until next time, peace everyone.